Hello again, folks. How you doing? It is still the 12th day of November 2024. Now it is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday. Monday? Tuesday. Quick video for you. I was watching a little bit of Democracy Now! And something happened that I thought was a perfect encapsulation of how neoliberalism has wormed its way into both the Democratic and the Republican side, the fake duopoly that we have in this country. It's a one-party system. It's the business party. And there was a discussion involving, on Democracy Now! This morning, involving someone named, I forget her name, Guerrero. I think Lydia Guerrero, something like that. Not the wife of the wrestler, but a writer for the New York Times. And she was very interested in pointing out that all of these people that Donald Trump have appointed to take care of the border are all racist and white nationalists, and apparently they want a one-tone fucking country, and they want to move anybody with pigmentation darker than mine out of the country, deport them. Just because they're racist and they hate everybody. Steve Miller, I think is what his name is, has been appointed to head up the border czar or some shit. And so, of course, that set her off, and she wrote this thing talking about him back when he was in with, 6 degrees of separation, quotes from hearsay from people saying that he was rabidly yelling things on Cinco de Mayo and shit. It's all about racism. It's all about this. It's all about that. And she was in the middle of this, and Juan Gonzalez, I think is his name, brings up a clip from 1978, a man by the name of Milton Friedman, who is in this country the father of modern fucking neoliberalism. The free marketeer, Milton Friedman. And I think it's a clip from the old Phil Donahue show, where he's explaining to these young liberals back in 1978 how good for the economy illegal immigration is. And specifically, illegal immigration, because, according to him, as long as they're illegal, they're not qualified for Medicare, Medicaid, I guess, all kinds of food stamps back in the day. They actually have books of food stamps, some of those. They're not qualified for any benefits. All they can do is come in and work. And that's good for the economy. What he doesn't say is that as they work, they are working for considerably less than the natural-born citizens or naturalized citizens who already live here. That's the value of illegal immigration, according to Milton Friedman. By the way, for those of you libertarians out there who worship at the altar of Milton Friedman, and you think you're opposed to neoliberalism, unfortunately and illegal immigration, unfortunately for you, your hero wasn't. Your hero was the founder of neoliberalism in the United States, and big fan of open borders. But don't take my word for it. I'm going to show you the video. The point I'm trying to make is that after the video plays, then Guerrero, the writer for the New York Times, has a chance to make a comment. And she seems flabbergasted that Juan would show such a video. And what she says gives it away. You think it's all about, her whole thing is about, oh my God, the families are upset. And oh my God, when they were told, when Stephen Miller was told, when Donald Trump was told that families are upset because they're being rounded up, sent to camps, and then from the camps put on fucking planes and sent back to some country someplace. They didn't care. The animals, the cruel animals. She makes, in the end, that argument, trying to recoup what she exposes about herself, about what the quote-unquote liberals at the New York Times really think about illegal immigration and why they support it. I'll let her tell you herself, okay? I'll come back after this video plays out. Just so you know, this is the, calling him hate monger, Stephen Miller holds key post as Trump pushes mass deportation, detention and deportation. This is the title of the video. And this is the section starting at 9 minutes and 48 seconds into the 17-minute, 21-second video. And this, of course, is Miss Guerrero. I don't know if it's Mrs., I don't know. But she's the one from the New York Times who's been saying all this stuff about Stephen Miller from 6 Degrees of Separation hearsay, that he said all these racist things and did all these racist things back when he was in high school. He's a racist. That's all about racism. Look what happens when she's confronted with a video by Juan, I think it's Gonzalez, from 1978. Have a listen.
I'm wondering, we're going to play a clip from a speech from one of the founders of modern neoliberalism, the economist Milton Friedman, back in 1978. He gave a speech about the importance of Mexican immigration to the United States. I'm wondering if you could comment on it after we play this clip.
Now, before we get started, I just want to remind you that back in the 1970s, early 1970s, a big opponent of open borders and illegal immigration was Cesar Chavez, who organized migrant farm workers. People brought in legally to pick, harvest fruit, moving up the East Coast and up the West Coast. Specifically, the West Coast was where he was unionizing. With the season, following the season, with all these fruits and all these different things that you eat every day, and how they were mistreated. And he worked very hard to organize them into labor unions, to give them a better quality of life. He absolutely opposed, this is a real leftist, as opposed to what you're going to hear from her in a few seconds. He's a real leftist who opposed open borders and illegal immigration because they would attack the wage structure of the people he represented, trying to make their lives better. So, with that in mind, here's Milton Friedman, 1978.
Mexican immigration over the border is a good thing. It's a good thing for the illegal immigrants. It's a good thing for the United States. It's a good thing for the citizens of the country. But it's only good so long as it's illegal. That's an interesting paradox to think about. Make it legal, and it's no good. Why? Because as long as it's illegal, the people who come in do not qualify for welfare. They don't qualify for Social Security. They don't qualify for all the other myriads of benefits that we pour out from our left pocket into our right pocket. And so as long as they don't qualify, they migrate to jobs. They take jobs that most residents of this country are unwilling to take. They provide employers with workers of a kind they cannot get. They're hard workers, they're good workers, and they are clearly better off.
Now, I'm sure many of you have heard similar argument and may have made it yourself. People are angry or upset about migrant farm workers being here, migrant workers being here, immigrants being here, getting benefits. That's the first thing you always hear. Oh my God, they're getting all the benefits and this benefit and that benefit and this benefit and that benefit. back in the day, back in the Milton Friedman day, when time was good, they didn't get no benefits. They didn't have any fucking unions. They didn't have any protections. They didn't have OSHA back in the days. And they took whatever the employer was fucking offering. They were also, because they were off the books, they could work for less than minimum wage. He doesn't mention that, but that's a fact. It's also a fact he doesn't mention the fact that these are not necessarily jobs that Americans don't want. A lot of jobs these days are taken by people from outside the country. They are hired by contractors who know a very little bit about the fucking job, the business they're in, but they know enough to file a fucking business license, get a business license, get a van, get a couple of the basic tools they need. They can slap it together. I was talking to the guy who built the house across the street. Okay? He is Hispanic of origin. Nice guy, hardworking guy, but he will only hire Hispanic companies, contractors, to do the jobs to build out his houses. And the reason he does that is because they are cheaper. Now, he said himself, told me himself, that 9 times out of 10, these are contractors who work in a fucking industry for 6 to 7 to 9 months and then quit the jobs knowing just what a laborer knows in that industry, like painting or bricklaying or roofing or whatever, or carpentry. They know just a little. They run off, they get a fucking business license, they get a van, they get some tools, they hire some dudes, and then they underbid contractors to get jobs. He was telling me this stuff while complaining about the kind of work that was done on his house. And he had to continually go over it and over it and over it and change this and tell them this and tell them that. And I asked him, I said, well, why do you continue hiring the same people? The obvious answer is because they're cheaper. These are all kinds of jobs. Painting, roofing, framing, trim, cabinetry, anything in construction. Anything in construction you can think of, you can name. That's what's happening. And they are preferred because they are cheaper than the natural born or naturalized equivalents, who might be better, but these guys are cheaper and they can get past it. They stay on top of them, they can fix it, get it done and get it out and make more of a profit. That's the situation we're in. Now you extrapolate that to other fucking industries across the country, and that's where you're at. And in a lot of places, a lot of industries, where you're punching a clock, you've got some guys in there working who are not on the fucking clock because they are not fucking, they don't have a green card, they're not here legally, and they're not making minimum wage. It saves business money. That's why neoliberal economic ideology, one of the main pillars of neoliberal economic ideology, is what they call flexible workforces. That's open borders. The ability to do this, to continue to undermine the wage structure in a stable location so that you can bring the wage structure down, get unemployment up, people will compete for fucking wages, and of course the price will go down for the labor, which means the profits will go up. That's neoliberal economic ideology, part of it at least. That's why Milton Friedman is a big fan of it. Now he's going to cut now to Miss Guerrero. Miss Guerrero, who has been talking all along about the hate mongers, and it's all about love, and it's all about, oh my God, all about the humanity and keeping them here. She had mentioned, she let it slip, she might in this clip I'm going to show you, 22 million families will be uprooted, and at least one of those people in the 22 million families is an illegal immigrant here without any kind of paperwork or documentation. At least one. That means at least she admits 22 million fucking people here illegally. And she says at least one member in that family. Now that's families. How many of these illegal immigrants that you have seen are here with their families? What is the real number we're talking about? We're talking about a lot of fucking people. Remember, this is the business party. There's no left or real right. They're all about the business. They're all about the centrists. They're all about neoliberalism. Watch what happens when she has to address what Milton Friedman just said. Watch what she starts talking about.
That was economist Milton Friedman back in 1978 talking about the importance of Mexican immigration. Specifically, he said illegal Mexican immigration to the American economy. Wondering your thoughts.
Well, I think it speaks to the Republican Party's desire to maintain a second-class citizen population in this country because they can exploit them.
Now, here she says, it's the Republican Party. It's the Republican Party that's doing this because the Republican Party wants to exploit them. But wait, there's more.
But these are individuals who have been contributing to our economy since the beginning of the United States. They're individuals who build our highways and our homes, who harvest our crops, who take care of the elderly in hospitals. They're contributing to the United States in endless ways. And in fact, the people that Trump wants to deport are the very people who have mitigated the rise of inflation in this country.
What did she just say? They're the people who have, what is she reading off the book? These are notes. They have mitigated the rise of inflation. What does that mean? That means they've kept the costs down. How do they keep the costs down? They keep the costs down by undercutting the wage structure. That's how they keep the cost down. She just said the Republican Party are the ones who want to continue using these people and exploiting these people, and yet the whole thing is she's here talking about Republicans getting set up in January 21st to start exporting them out of the country. But yet it's the Republicans that want to continue to exploit them. And what is she talking about? Wait, listen. So it's the illegal immigrants here keeping the wage structures down and keeping the costs down and mitigating inflation. But that's not all.
Country and whose deportations will absolutely increase the price of groceries. So it's going to backfire on the Trump administration and on.
So it's going to increase the price of groceries. So what is she arguing for? Is she arguing that it's immoral to be sending these people out, or is she arguing that big business is going to lose money because it's going to cost more to produce the goods when you have to hire natural-born or naturalized American citizens? She's literally making the case, the same case, that Milton Friedman did in 1978. And yet claiming the Republicans are the ones who want to continue exploiting these people. She's basically telling you we need to keep them here to exploit them because it makes things cheaper. I wonder who cleans up her house, takes care of her yard.
On the U.S. economy, but the people who are most going to suffer are the 22 million mixed status families in this country who have at least one undocumented person in the household, U.S. citizen children, and who are going to be traumatically separated and subjected to these cruel policies, which if you listen to Tom...
So it's 22 million. I told you that. at least one in the family, 22 million families, at least one. 22 million people in families, 22 million families with at least one illegal immigrant. And again, I ask you, how many times do you see these vans full of guys going to jobs knowing full well that they are single males living in a household with other single males? But they know of 22 million families that will be displaced.
Home and talk on, there's a recent podcast, a Breitbart podcast that he appeared on, in which they were actually ridiculing, laughing at the notion of these mixed status families being traumatized and crying as a result of these policies.
It's just terrible. It's awful. It's terrible. Oh my God. They're going to be so heartbroken. They're going to be so upset. The families will have to move to Guatemala, where they came from, or Mexico. Oh, it's just awful. That's not the problem. According to her, the problem is
wants to deport are the very people who have mitigated the rise of inflation in this country, and whose deportations will absolutely increase the price of groceries. So
that's her problem. That's her problem. And that ideology comes straight from him. It comes straight from him. That's the fucking left. That's what I call, what many people call, the fake left in this country. Pretending to take the moral high ground on an issue like this. But in reality, if you give them enough time, if you scrape away a little bit of the fucking dust, you can see what's really at the core. And what's at the core is defense of the status quo, especially in New York. Because there are a lot of financial institutions that would suffer greatly because of all of their fucking investments, especially BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, and Goldman Sachs, and all of those. There are a lot of financial institutions that would suffer greatly were Trump to actually go through with this policy. By the way, Trump is not going to go through with this policy. Trump is a developer. Trump has developer friends. Trump has developer investments. Trump has billionaire friends who would never let him back playing on their fucking golf courses if he took away their cheap labor. You ask yourself, this is fixing the immigration problem and illegal immigration problem in this country has been a thing, obviously, since 1978. And it goes back even before that. It goes back to the early 1970s when I was talking to you about Cesar Chavez and others. In fact, one of the first things I was ever involved in terms of either protests or demonstrations was for migrant farm workers a long time ago. It's been an issue for quite some time. It's never been an issue that's been fixable. Well, you ask yourself, why isn't it fixable? This is what's at the heart of this New York Times writer, this leftist who cares about the migrants and the illegal immigrants in this country. What does she really care about? She cares about the financial institutions who are making money off of their fucking sweat. If you were to force them out or naturalize them, give them immediate fucking status as a U.S. citizen, they would be the owners of the companies that hire them would have to pay them wages that are commensurate with naturalized citizens and natural born citizens. That would cost them a lot of fucking money. Cost them a lot of profits. They wouldn't be able to jack up the prices of everything so much in order to compensate and continue to make the same profits. They'd have to just take less profits. They'd jack up the prices as much as they could, but they would still have to make less profits. So that's why it hasn't been fixed. It hasn't been fixed by Republicans, hasn't been fixed by Democrats. Because as Milton Friedman says, they are more valuable as illegal immigrants. That's the left in this country, in a fucking nutshell. Thank you for your time.